What motivates Toph? Who is she as a character? Though she loves proving her fighting prowess and shooting snide remarks at people, that's not all of who she is. In truth, she is a very lonely person. She's never had a friend, she says so herself, and she doesn't know how teamwork functions. This causes problems when she joins Team Avatar. She doesn't know how to do anything but be alone. In episode 208, The Chase, she fights with Katara over Katara's very reasonable demand that she helps out around camp. It's not like Toph's doing anything with her free time. She can't read, and she's not practicing her fighting skills. She's just standing there twiddling her thumbs while everyone else is hard at work. She's just being stubborn, but it's hard to blame her. She doesn't really understand human interaction. How could she? And still, the members of Team Avatar care about her. After she storms out of the group, they lament their behavior toward her. Gradually, their compassion for her is reciprocated. Toph becomes close to the other members of Team Avatar, and she becomes a warmer and more caring person in general. Would Season 2 Toph be willing to stick her neck out for Zuko, even over the objections of Aang, Sokka, and Katara? I don't think so. However, there is one member of Team Avatar for whom Toph's feelings stretch beyond friendship, and that is Sokka. It's fairly clear that Toph has a crush on Sokka. When she saved Sokka's life in episode 212, The Serpent's Pass, Sokka does not thank her, instead immediately checking on Suki. Toph mocks Sokka for this, which does not necessarily imply romantic affection, but considering her behavior later in the episode, it's not unreasonable to believe that jealousy is playing on Toph. When Suki saves her from drowning, Toph kisses her, believing her to be Sokka. And this is not an unreasonable thing to think, considering that, number one, she's blind, and number two, Sokka is the one who declared that he would go in and save her from drowning. Anyway, Toph is embarrassed after the mix-up, and though it would be tempting to write this off as an inconsequential joke, her feelings for Sokka come back in episode 304 of the show, Sokka's Master, when Sokka returns after a short absence and Toph blushes while lying that she didn't miss him. Now, obviously, blushing does not necessarily indicate a romantic attraction, and even if you say, oh, well, in a show like this, it's a shorthand for attraction, that's not really the case in Avatar. It might be in some shows, but not here. People blush for a lot of different reasons, even on Avatar, but I do think it's fair to say that this blush is romantic. Katara and Aang both declare that they're so happy that Sokka's back and that they missed him so much, while Toph turns away, pretending to be mystified that the others miss Sokka. One could chalk this up to Toph being unwilling to reveal her emotions, and indeed this is consistently proven to be one of her biggest character flaws. But she is never unwilling to admit how much she cares about Aang, especially in Season 3, and her unwillingness to admit how much she cares about Katara is a completely different thing that's very tied up with her complicated feelings about her parents, whom she ran away from because they restricted her. Even though she realizes that Katara cares about her a lot more than her actual parents did. I don't really see an alternate explanation like that for her being unable to admit the truth about her feelings to Sokka. It's a crush. Is it more than that? We don't know. We don't spend a lot of time in Toph's head. I wish we did. I wish we spent as much time with her and some of the other members of Team Avatar as we do with Aang and Zuko. We don't really get to see how she thinks about Sokka, romantically or otherwise. After Sokka's master, we only get vague hints. When Suki rejoins the group after the Boiling Rock two-parter, episodes 314 and 315, Toph refuses to reveal her feelings toward Sokka. She never even spends a lot of time talking with Sokka about anything from this point onward. Not including the 4-part Sozin's Comet ending, she spends more time in the back half of Season 3 talking with Zuko than she does talking with Sokka. And in that Sozin's Comet 4-parter, their interactions are more a matter of survival than anything else. It's not about romantic attraction or even friendship, it's just about staying alive. Based on their interactions, I assume that Toph realized that Sokka and Suki were in love, so she abandoned her romantic ideas about Sokka, but we don't know for sure. We don't have enough information to make a definitive judgment one way or the other. Now, I want to be clear, I'm not saying I wished the show focused more on romance. When the show did try to focus on romance, the result was a little stilted and awkward. But the show's stuck in this weird middle zone, this weird liminal space, where there's enough focus on romantic attraction to elicit interest from fans of the show, but not so much that the romance becomes a major part of the show. Relationships between family members and relationships between friends tend to matter more than relationships between lovers, and there's nothing wrong with that, of course. But it is a little frustrating that we get only glimpses of the relationship between these two when the show spends so much time obsessing over Aang's boyish crush on Katara. Does Sokka even know Toph has a crush on him? It's entirely possible that he doesn't. He would know if he were there for the scene between Toph and Suki in the Serpent's Pass, but he wasn't. That scene took place in the water a far ways out from land. I believe the only way Sokka would find out about that is if Suki told him, and I doubt she would do that. Why would she? If Sokka had indeed jumped in the water after Toph instead of Suki, would things have been different? Again, Sokka was the first one who said he was going to save her, but before he could follow through on that declaration, Suki jumped in and swam after Toph. Possibly, Sokka wanted to save her as an acknowledgement that he was wrong for not thanking her for saving his life. This was his attempt to repent for that slight. He would save her life. At this point, he is in something of a rough patch in his relationship with Suki. He has the opportunity to kiss her in the night that spans the middle of the episode, but he can't do it because the moon is out, and he is reminded of Yue, his lost love that he failed to save. She sacrificed herself to save the balance of the elements and the balance of the world after Zhao destroyed the moon at the end of Season 1. None of this means Sokka would automatically decide he no longer wants to be with Suki. Yet, if Toph kissed him, Sokka would at least understand that he is a part of a love triangle. It would be a difficult choice. I still believe he would choose Suki, if only because she's around his age, while Toph is 3 years younger than him. 3 years is not a long time for adults, but for adolescents and tweens, that is a huge gap. Could Sokka choose Toph sometime after the story events of Avatar: The Last Airbender, particularly if his relationship with Suki starts going south? Sure, but he would only be in position to do that if he knows that Toph loves him, which he doesn't, because the only two people who could have told him that are Toph herself, who is too shy and reticent to admit her true feelings, and Suki, who has no reason to say anything that benefits her romantic rival. This is less of a direct love triangle and more a case of a dude who's just not aware enough to understand that he's stuck between two young women, both of whom really love him and care about him. Obviously, Ty Lee is also attracted to him, but he hardly thinks about her, especially when she's trying to capture him. Also, while he's not repulsed by Ty Lee's advances, he doesn't express any real interest in her, unlike the horde of dudes we see in episode 305, The Beach. We don't know if he would choose Toph, but it's a shame we never get to find out. The question should not be, does Toph love Sokka? The answer to that, I think, is pretty definitively yes. The real question is, could Sokka love Toph? So thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Donate to my Patreon if you can and you want to see more videos like this. Keep watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. It is a cunning, brave show that is not afraid to give a spotlight to its side characters beyond how they relate to Aang or Zuko. They're not just sidekicks. They have their own stories. They have their own reasons for joining this fight. They have their own perspectives and beliefs and ideals and relationships, and the show honors them for that. And I really appreciate that. So tune in soon for my next analysis. It will be coming soon. I promise you that. Thank you all again. Adios, comrades.